The night shift decision. She wasn't supposed to be there. The fire chief had ordered everyone out, but Maria Santos couldn't leave. Not when she heard the crying. That's what cost her everything. That's what the review board said when they stripped her badge 3 days later. But what they didn't know was that sometimes breaking the rules saves more than following them ever could. If you believe some rules are meant to be broken for the right reasons, comment "courage" below. Maria Santos, 29, had been a paramedic for 7 years. She'd seen everything from highway pileups to cardiac arrests, but nothing had prepared her for that Tuesday night. The apartment complex was already half consumed when Engine 12 arrived. Thick black smoke poured from every window on the 3rd floor. Buildings compromised, Fire Chief Reynolds barked through his radio. All personnel, maintain perimeter. No entry. But Maria heard something others missed. Through the chaos of sirens and shouting, a faint sound drifted from the 2nd floor. A child's cry. She grabbed her medical bag and oxygen tank. Her partner, Jake, caught her arm. "Maria, you heard the chief. Building's unstable." "There's a kid in there," she said, pulling free. "You don't know that. Could be anything." But Maria was already moving. She'd heard that sound before, pure terror mixed with hope, the kind only a frightened child makes when they think help might come. The lobby was thick with smoke. Visibility was near zero. She felt her way to the stairwell, each step echoing her racing heartbeat. The crying was clearer now, coming from apartment 2B. If you've ever had to choose between safety and doing what's right, you know what happened next. The door was hot but unlocked. Inside, Maria found her. A little girl, maybe 4 years old, huddled in a bathtub with a wet towel over her head. Smart kid. Someone had taught her well. "Hey sweetheart," Maria called softly, kneeling beside the tub. "I'm here to help." The girl looked up with eyes wide with fear but somehow trusting. "My mommy went to get help. She told me to stay here." Maria's heart broke. The mother had probably tried to escape and get firefighters, but the smoke had likely overcome her. "What's your name, honey?" "Emma." "Well, Emma, we're going to get out of here together, okay?" The building groaned around them. Time was running out. Maria wrapped Emma in the wet towel and lifted her. The hallway was worse now, flames licking at the walls. The stairwell had become a chimney, pulling smoke and heat upward. They had to move fast. She made it to the lobby just as the ceiling began to collapse behind them. Outside, Chief Reynolds was waiting, his face a mask of fury and relief. "Santos. What the hell were you thinking?" But before Maria could answer, Emma's voice cut through the night. "She saved me. The nice lady saved me. Comment hero if you think she did the right thing." The investigation began the next morning. Violation of direct orders. Endangering civilian life. Reckless conduct. The charges stacked up like firewood. "You could have been killed," the review board chairman said during the hearing. "You could have gotten that child killed." "But she didn't," Maria replied quietly. "She's alive because someone was willing to act. Rules exist for a reason, Paramedic Santos. Chain of command keeps everyone safe." Maria looked at the row of officials, all in pressed uniforms, all comfortable behind their desk. Emma Rodriguez is 4 years old. She was following her mother's instructions, hiding in that bathtub, waiting for help. If I had followed protocol, she'd be dead. The room fell silent. Nevertheless, the chairman continued, "Your badge is suspended pending final review. If you think bureaucracy sometimes forgets its purpose, share this story." 3 days later, Maria sat in her kitchen, her badge and ID on the table beside an untouched cup of coffee. 7 years of saving lives, ended because she'd saved one more. Her phone buzzed constantly. Local news wanted interviews. Fellow paramedics texted support. But the one message that mattered came from an unknown number. Ms. Santos, this is Rosa Rodriguez. You saved my daughter Emma. I need to see you. They met at the park where Emma was playing on the swings, laughing like the trauma had never touched her. Rosa's eyes were red from crying. The hospital told me what happened, Rosa said. How they punished you. It doesn't matter, Maria replied, watching Emma play. She's okay. That's what matters. It does matter. My daughter is alive because you chose to act. Now you're being punished for it. Rosa pulled out her phone. I've been researching you. 7 years of service. Dozens of lives saved. Perfect record until you saved the one that mattered most to me. If you believe good people shouldn't be punished for doing good, keep reading. What Rosa did next changed everything. She didn't just post on social media. She organized. Within 48 hours, she'd contacted every family Maria had helped over the years. Parents whose children Maria had revived. Elderly patients she'd comforted in their final moments. Accident victims who owed their lives to her quick thinking. The response was overwhelming. She saved my husband after his heart attack, one woman posted. Worked on him for 20 minutes when others would have given up. My son was choking. She got there in 4 minutes and saved his life, another wrote. Car accident on I-95. Maria Santos kept me conscious and talking until the helicopter arrived. I'm alive because of her. The stories poured in. Not just dozens, hundreds. 7 years of lives touched, saved, comforted by someone who'd finally been punished for caring too much. Comment, grateful, if you've ever been helped by someone who went above and beyond. The fire department stayed quiet for 3 days. Then Chief Reynolds called a press conference. Maria watched from her living room as he stood before the cameras, looking uncomfortable. The department stands by its decision, he said stiffly. Rules and protocols exist to protect both our personnel and the public. A reporter raised her hand. Chief, are you saying paramedic Santos should have let the child die? I'm saying she violated direct orders and put lives at risk. But she saved a life. That's not the point. But it was the point. Everyone watching knew it was the point. If you think he missed the point entirely, you're not alone. By evening, the department's phone lines were jammed. Not just from supporters, but from other firefighters and paramedics around the country. Active duty personnel calling to defend Maria's actions. Captain David Chen from Seattle Fire called the chief directly, Sir, with respect, if one of my paramedics heard a child crying and didn't act, I'd question their fitness for duty. Lieutenant Sarah Williams from Houston EMS was more direct, you're punishing someone for having the courage to do what we all signed up to do, save lives. The pressure mounted. Local politicians began asking questions. The mayor's office received over 2,000 calls in one day. Share this if you believe courage should be rewarded, not punished. But the moment that changed everything came on Friday morning. Maria was getting groceries when she heard a familiar voice. Mommy, that's her. That's the nice lady who saved me. Emma Rodriguez came running across the parking lot, Rosa chasing behind her. The little girl wrapped her arms around Maria's legs, looking up with that same trusting smile from the night of the fire. I told everyone at school about you, Emma said proudly. You're my hero. Maria knelt down to Emma's level, her eyes filling with tears she'd been holding back all week. You're my hero too, sweetheart. You were so brave that night. Rosa approached, holding her phone. Maria, I've been documenting everything. The support, the calls, the pressure on the department. This story is bigger than just you now. It's about what we value as a society. If you think society should value courage over compliance, comment below. That afternoon, Rosa's video went viral. Not a polished production, just a mother and daughter sitting in their living room, telling their story. "This is Emma," Rosa said to the camera. "She's 4 years old, and she's alive because someone chose courage over rules." Emma waved at the camera. "Hi. The nice lady saved me from the fire." "The woman who saved her," Rosa continued, "has been suspended from her job. For saving my daughter's life." The video was shared 50,000 times in 6 hours. News stations picked it up. A hashtag started trending, #SaveTheSaver. If you think this story should be heard, share it now. But the real pressure came from an unexpected source. Other paramedics and firefighters began calling in sick. Not a strike, just individual decisions by people who couldn't stomach working for a department that punished heroism. Station 7 had only 2 paramedics show up for the morning shift. Station 12 lost 3 firefighters. The department was hemorrhaging personnel, and everyone knew why. Chief Reynolds called an emergency meeting with the city council. "We have a staffing crisis," he admitted. "Response times are being affected." Councilwoman Janet Martinez leaned forward. "Chief, let me ask you something. If your child was trapped in a burning building, and someone violated protocol to save them, how would you feel?" Reynolds shifted uncomfortably. That's not relevant." "It's the only thing that's relevant. If you agree with Councilwoman Martinez, comment relevant below." The breaking point came Sunday morning. Maria was at church when her phone rang. It was dispatch, not the department's dispatch, but the county emergency line. "Maria? It's Jenny from County Dispatch. We've got a situation. Multi-car accident on Route 9. Department's short-staffed, and we need all available paramedics." "Jenny, I'm suspended." "Maria, there are kids involved. Please." 20 minutes later, Maria arrived at the scene in her personal vehicle, medical bag in hand. 5 cars, 2 overturned. She could see at least 3 children among the victims. She worked alongside the few available paramedics, treating a 6-year-old boy with a head injury while his mother held his hand. The child reminded her of Emma, scared but trusting. "Am I going to be okay?" he whispered. "You're going to be fine," Maria said, starting in 4. "I promise." Chief Reynolds arrived just as Maria was loading the boy into the ambulance. Their eyes met across the chaos. He saw her covered in blood, exhausted but focused, saving another child's life. He didn't say a word. He didn't have to. If you believe actions speak louder than words, you know what happened next. Monday morning, Maria received a call from the department. Not from HR or the review board. From Chief Reynolds himself. "Santos, I need to see you. My office. 1 hour." Maria arrived to find Reynolds sitting behind his desk, looking older than she remembered. On his desk was her personnel file, thick with commendations and thank you letters. "Sit down," he said quietly. "Chief, about yesterday. You showed up." His voice was barely above a whisper. "You were suspended, facing termination, and you still showed up." Maria said nothing. "That boy you treated. Tommy Henderson. He's my nephew." The words hung in the air between them. Reynolds opened her file. 7 years. Hundreds of saves. Perfect record. "And I suspended you for saving a child." He stood up, walked around the desk, and extended his hand. In it was her badge. "Your suspension is rescinded, effective immediately." "And Maria?" "Yes, sir. Thank you. For reminding me why we do this job." If you believe people can change when they remember what matters, comment redemption. 6 months later, the department instituted the Santos Protocol, guidelines that allow first responders to act on their judgment when lives are at stake, even if it means breaking standard procedure. Emma Rodriguez visits the fire station every month, always bringing drawings for her hero. One shows a stick figure in a paramedic uniform with a cape. Maria kept that drawing on her ambulance dashboard. Because sometimes, being a hero isn't about following rules. It's about knowing which rules matter less than the life in front of you. If you believe quiet courage changes the world, share this story. Because heroes shouldn't be punished for being heroic. The night of her reinstatement, Maria sat in her apartment, badge gleaming on the kitchen table beside Emma's drawing. Her phone buzzed with a message from Rosa Rodriguez. "Thank you for showing Emma that some people choose courage over comfort. She wants to be a paramedic when she grows up. Because of you. Sometimes the right choice costs everything. Sometimes it saves everything. And sometimes, if you're very lucky, the world remembers the difference." Comment, courage, if you believe some rules are worth breaking. And so, Maria Santos' story reminds us of one of life's deepest truths: sometimes doing the right thing can cost us everything. But sometimes, that courageous choice can change not just one life, but an entire system. When Maria defied the rules that night, she wasn't just saving little Emma. She was listening to that voice that lives in all of our hearts, the voice of humanity. That voice that tells us, if this is the right thing to do, do it, no matter the consequences. The true power of this story lies not in Maria's courage, but in what happened afterward, in a mother's resolve, in a community's unity, in her colleagues' solidarity, and most importantly, in Fire Chief Reynolds' courage to admit his own mistakes. Because real change doesn't begin when we break the rules, but when we share the story of why we broke them. The image Emma Rodriguez drew, the paramedic in the cape, actually represents the hero within all of us. We too make choices in the moments we encounter in our daily lives. Will we choose what is safe, or what is right? Maria's story teaches us this: quiet courage changes the world. Not grand gestures, media storms, or viral videos, just one person's courage to say, "This is right, and I will do it." Perhaps you will encounter such a moment in your life. Perhaps you are facing it right now. Then remember Maria. Remember that rules are for people, not people for rules. And if you learn anything from this story today, let it be this: sometimes being a hero doesn't require great power. It only requires the courage to do what is right. Because in the end, what will be remembered is not how well we followed the rules, but how good a person we were. Maria Santos is still saving lives today. Emma Rodriguez plans to become a paramedic when she grows up. And thanks to the Santos Protocol, there will be other Marias and other Emmas who can show courage in the future. This is not just a story. This is a story we can all write. Because each of us has the power to make the world a little better. The question is, how will you use that power?